This is the Unspoken Podcast on the Undetermined Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Unspoken Podcast, TDC Sports Production, part of the Undetermined Podcast Network. It's episode number 41. I'm Tom Albano along with Nick Fodera and Nick Morgasen, and we're this close to the World Series, boys.
Oh my God! It might actually happen.
A year or two early, but we'll take it anyway.
Don't jinx it. Please don't jinx it.
Are you really into jinxes?
Yes.
No, you're
I'm
not.
the most superstitious person alive. If I could wear underpants made out of rabbit's feet, I would.
Oh God. Oh great. Now I got to deal with more people with jinxes. This is going to be one hell of a podcast. Let's not drop it into the ground. Let's go.
You don't believe in jinxes?
No. Are you kidding me?
I don't know.
Sometimes on this show, I feel like you two are skipping Stephen A, and I'm just the girl in the middle.
Yeah,
You mean wait a minute. You mean you're Molly Kieran?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit.
I guess you could say you're the good-looking one, but that wouldn't be true.
Ow.
Ow. Wow, where the hell did that come from?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, you two can do the podcast by yourself.
So if that's the way you're going to do it, forget it.
As Tom decides to implode and walk away.
Oh my God, I think he actually left the room.
Wow. That was totally a joke.
Come on back, Tom. Come on.
That was great.
As the Unspoken Podcast starts off on a good point.
Well, when I was saying we're this close to the World Series, I also just meant it's almost here. We already have one team official. The Dodgers last night officially clinched their spot in the World Series, defeating the Cubs 4-1.
And soundly handling the Cubs 11-1, backed by 3 home runs by Kike Hernandez. Which, why, and how, and who?
Boys, even if the Yankees make it in, I'm just gonna flat out say it. I'm scared.
Well, I need to make one point though. Do people don't understand the backstory behind Kike Hernandez about what happened before the game, where he was going to wear a hat that had it was something about his native country, Puerto Rico, about representing Puerto Rico, and Major League Baseball told him that he couldn't wear the hat. So he's been raising millions of dollars apparently for Puerto Rico, and now Major League Baseball said you can't wear that hat. It's not good for television. And I'm like, all right,
not good for television.
Wait, so. Yeah, go ahead. Go.
Or is this more the uniform bullshit like it was?
Well, it's part of that. That's what they meant. Don't quote me because I don't know exactly what they said, but basically they said you can't wear that because of television reasons or whatever. So basically, I think it was the general manager or one of the top guys in the organization who said, we need you to relax. Don't worry about the hat. Don't worry about what's going on right now. And after the game, I'm going to make a huge donation to Puerto Rico if you just focus on playing baseball.
Which, good on him, but you don't believe in jinxes, but you believe in magic hats? What are you, the Pope?
No, I didn't say it was magic. I'm just telling you what the situation was. So I guess it made him a little less tense while playing the game. That's all I'm saying. That happens before. People need to be less tense. They perform better. Think about that.
That's true.
I guess so.
So you know what? I won't say it's magic, but I'll say it's a little irony that basically he was able to relax himself, and then he comes out and has a historic game for the first time since, I think it was the 88 World Series when Reggie Jackson hit 3 home runs in a game. Actually, we had that once already with Altuve earlier in the Astros-Red Sox series. I forgot. But basically, it was the first time a Dodger did it since that World Series in 88.
And I've never seen, and granted, the Cubs' offense was absolutely putrid, I'd say, but I've never seen a team as loose as the Dodgers. You could have stood on their nutsacks for 15 minutes, and they would have said, "Hey, good morning."
All right, that's a little much of a stretch. But yes, you could definitely say that the Dodgers are loose, the Yankees are loose, and if we had the music right now, if I could find it, maybe Tom could find it. A lot of people have been saying that in the past, the Yankees have been the evil empire, and you would hear the Star Wars music, and
hang on,
and basically
the Imperial March.
Right.
I got it. Okay. You want it? Okay, here it is.
Right.
I'm going to let it play. Keep talking.
But right, basically you would have this in the background. Oh my God, it's the Yankees. They're the evil empire. Basically, they're evil. No one's going to like them. Well, basically...
Evil!
Evil!
I basically heard something last night. I was listening to ESPN radio last night, and Freddie Coleman, who does the national show at night, was saying that instead of playing the Evil Empire music, we should just play the SpongeBob SquarePants music instead, because they're so likable. So basically, they're more likable. They're a younger bunch, and if you look at the way the Yankees have been, they're doing the mock press conferences in the dugout after the home runs.
Fantastic. I love it. Also, by the way, isn't it also very ironic or coincidence, rather, that freaking you mentioned the SpongeBob music, and before I was just impersonating freaking Mermaid Man?
Evil! But basically...
I feel like now we need to play Alanis Morissette, because it's like rain on your wedding day. I'm not even going to go...
Do not play Alanis Morissette.
But basically...
I will get up and leave if you play Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, really. I would too. But basically, they're a likable team. They're young guys. You have Aaron Judge and Gary Sanchez, who finally came through in Game 5 and decided to assert their offensive power, which they really haven't done through like the first 5 or 6 games or so. Between the
Dallas Keuchel, no less.
Well, here's the interesting thing so far about the Yankees in the playoffs. A lot of people said they're not going to hit Corey Kluber. They're not going to hit Dallas Keuchel. Well, so far they annihilated Corey Kluber twice, and they managed to annihilate Dallas Keuchel in Game 5 on short rest, because the Astros were taking a huge gamble bringing him back in Game 5.
Yeah.
So, which was not supposed to happen. He was supposed to pitch Game 6, and Verlander would pitch Game 7.
Right. And honestly, even if the Astros manage to come back and advance to the World Series, even in that situation, the Dodgers fans are going to come to the Yankees fans and be like, thank you, because the Astros pitching rotation would at that point be fucked.
Well, yeah. I mean, in Game 7, I heard they might pitch Charlie Morton, who was annihilated in Game 3. So,
although I think that was more due to fatigue, because he was rolling earlier in the game.
I don't know, but... Oh, wait. Was that McCullers or was that Morton in Game 3?
That was Morton. McCullers was Game 4, I think.
Which McCullers...
Morton was Game 3.
McCullers, who pitched very well until the bullpen fucked it up, which has been a huge problem for the Astros in this series. And that's why all along I said, even though the Astros are the better offensive team, the Yankees, in the long run, are going to have the advantage because their bullpen is more sound.
Right.
Verlander in Houston doesn't scare you, though? It scares me. It really does.
Does it scare me? Yes, because of Game 2. But in the long run, if they can keep it a one-run game or even a nothing game, it doesn't matter because the Astros bullpen is exposed.
Basically for the Yankees, it comes down to Luis Severino tonight, and then potentially tomorrow with CeCe.
It's a tough situation with the way the pitching is done. CeCe, the 37-year-old grandpa of the team, has somehow come out and pitched 5, 6, and I think 6 now, and somehow has carried this team, you could say, along with Daisuke. Oh my God, I almost did it again. Masahiro Tanaka have carried this team.
they all look the same to you?
They kind of do, but basically, well,
what is this, a Stormfront forum or a sports podcast?
well, I was going to say that their eyes are all squinted, but that's kind of offensive.
Oh, come on! What the fuck is that?
But
Jesus, Nick, that was insanely bad. That was.
We'd like to welcome you to the final episode of the Unspoken Podcast.
Nick, you've said so much weird shit that makes me actually look a lot better than you at this point. All right, besides the point, Masahiro Tanaka has been the MVP of the pitching rotation so far, in my opinion. Pitching 7 innings his last 2 times out. Unfortunate loss in Game 2 or Game 1, whichever it was. And basically the only reason that the Astros are not out of the series is because they've hit a little bit better in the first 2 games in Houston than the Yankees did.
I think having the stadium rocking like it was in those 3 games definitely did help the Yankees in that point. And I'm just wondering whether they can have that same sort of verve, that same sort of spring in their step when they're away from home. And, we've seen that they, by and large, they really haven't.
I was going to say they managed to do it.
Even though they won the clincher in the division series in Cleveland.
I mean, they could. I think it's an advantage that they're up 3-2 because now it's a little tougher to win 2 games in a row, especially towards the end of the series where the Astros, they burned Keuchel already. So now it's Verlander and question mark. So if
there's a Game 7, you'll probably see him in relief.
I was gonna say if there's a Game 7, if I'm Houston, as much I would go with Morton, but maybe have, like you said, Keuchel in relief. Don't do anything like the Nationals did and have Scherzer for a second time. And I mean, kind of cost Dusty Baker his job. Now we've learned.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Where I think that was a little not good with what Rizzo, the GM, did because he came out and said in August, I think, that his job was safe and he was not going to lose it.
Really?
But if you saw, I retweeted something that you said, and I retweeted something that Ken Rosenthal said, where he puts out the actual press release. And if I can pull it up, I'll tell you what I said over the retweet. I basically said, people lie to hide the truth. And that's what happens in sports, where people will lie to your face, and then they'll fire you so it doesn't look as bad as it does. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. But
throughout these playoffs, there have been some of the weirdest pitching moves I have ever seen.
Oh yeah,
especially in the Cubs sense. But I think, were victimized a little bit.
I think the Cubs were exposed from the pitching standpoint. In the Jake Arrieta was not the same pitcher he was during the World Series run. Kyle Hendricks was all right. They just didn't have any run support.
Let's just face it, this Cubs team was not the same Cubs team from last year.
Oh, no. They were completely exposed. Chris Bryant didn't hit. Russell didn't hit. Baez didn't hit until the last game where he had a home run.
I'll be honest, the Yankees, despite being the wild card team, we like the underdog story of the Yankees and stuff, but they were more of a favorite to win the World Series than the Cubs. The Cubs
I don't know if they were more of a favorite. I think that because odds mean shit. You have to play the games for them to.
Right, but I mean, the Cubs, like, if you look at the path to the World Series, it would have been Washington and then LA and then either the Yankees or Astros. That would still be a long path.
When we did our playoff preview a couple weeks ago, none of us would have imagined this potential World Series matchup. We hoped that it would happen, but I think, the Indians and the D-backs to meet in the World Series because I'm a fucking idiot. And
I don't even know who I picked.
I think Cleveland and Washington.
For the World Series? No, you didn't.
Yes, he did, actually, because you weren't on that show.
Oh, I think, what did I pick?
That was the show with Eric we're talking about.
Oh, right. But I think I came on afterwards, and I think I said it was going to be like Cubs Astros. I think that's what I said. And now I look. See, the predictions don't come to fruition most of the time.
You could be half right, though. You could be half right.
You'll see that on our best of episode when I plan to go through all the episodes and I want to see every prediction we have gotten wrong.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, I could say I was right with one prediction with the NBA coming to fruition with coming closer together and getting rid of those.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But basically, the way I see this series is, I mean, we're all Yankee fans, but we're not trying to be on the favoritism side here. But
I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be just completely honest with you now, considering, at the moment we are saying these words out of our mouths, Game 6 hasn't happened yet. So if you're listening to this after Game 6 has happened, well, sorry, that's on you.
Yeah, really. That we can't be held liable for anything this team does.
right.
But sometimes the three of us think we could do the job better. There are times this season where I thought I could hit better.
But basically, can I be just completely honest with you guys?
Go ahead.
I'm going to go on Nick Fodera route. I'm not going to make a prediction. I'm not.
Oh, you're punting.
I'm punting. Because here's the thing. Even if it's like what I said on last week before the ALCS started. I said it's like I have a feeling the Yankees will lose, but I'm praying to God that I'm wrong. It's like what I've called the mind and heart battle. It's like my mind and heart are in two different places with predictions.
You know what, though? I feel that the way this series goes, I think that was a major gamble, as I've said already, putting Dallas Keuchel in on short rest in Game 5. I don't know what they were thinking there, because if you could just win the game, you have Keuchel, I think, on 4 days, and then you have Verlander in the hole, so to speak. So now that I think it would have been a gamble either way, because I think there's a better chance of them hitting Verlander than Keuchel. You've seen Keuchel's numbers against the Yankees. They're disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So basically, I think that was a gamble either way, and now it's a major gamble and a backfire because they lost. So now I think they can hit Verlander. It's not going to be easy.
Some stats of the Astros hitting have just come up on my screen because I have MLB Network on. They disappeared, but it was like George Springer's 2 for 17, Bregman's 2 for 15 in this ALCS.
And the other thing we haven't talked about is the lefties in this series. The lefties for the Astros can't hit shit.
Well, they can hit. The Yankees pitching has just done a very good job of keeping them in check.
Which is why I'm saying it comes down, in my opinion, tonight to Severino, and if it goes to Game 7, to CeCe.
But we cannot, under any circumstances, underestimate this Astros team. We cannot disregard them, and we cannot put this series away in a box yet.
I've agreed with you.
This team is very, very dangerous with its back against the wall.
I wouldn't put them in a box. I wouldn't put them in a box, but I would say that they've been struggling throughout the playoffs. Well, I should say throughout the playoffs. In this series with hitting. And I think it's because the Yankee pitching is stronger than what the Red Sox pitching ever was. It was just unfortunate that the Yankees didn't have enough time to garner back the division. So I think that the Yankee bullpen is much bigger force. I think the Yankee starting rotation has proven that they can pitch. And I just think it's a matter of you got to stay within yourself and not think about the World Series yet.
Right.
But good God, speaking of managers, Joe Madden. I mean, Jesus. Oh my God. I've never seen a man. First of all, context is necessary because not last night's game, the night before last.
Oh God.
Are you talking about the call that I want to talk about?
Yes, I am.
If you need context, I have it.
You know what? Yeah, Nick Morgasen, you deliver the context.
All right, so before we play this, what Nick and Tom were talking about is this was the Dodgers were up 3-0, and I think they're up 3-2. The Cubs are up 3-2 trying to salvage a game so they can make this a series. And Curtis Granderson is up at the plate and with a wild swing misses the breaking ball. I think it was a breaking ball, right?
I think it was, yeah.
And because it ended up in the dirt.
Yeah.
And basically, the umpire says, all right, he struck out. He missed the pitch. And all of a sudden, Dave Roberts comes running out of the dugout and says, no, wait a second. We got to check that, even though it's obvious. But you know what? I'll leave it there, and we'll let this is the extended audio from the time that the pitch was played and the play-by-play happens.
Well, one more thing. Keep in mind, for those of you who aren't big on the into the MLB replay rules, keep in mind, this was not a reviewable play.
Yeah, this isn't reviewable. The foul tips are not reviewable yet.
Umpires can get together and talk like they did, but this is not reviewable.
Which I think they need to change that for next season.
We'll get to that. Play the audio, and then I'm going to unleash.
All right. This is via TBS. Take a listen.
It was not a good explanation. I mean, listen, I'm all about the umpire.
Oh, wait. That's the Joe Madden audio.
Yeah,
do you want to just hear the Joe Madden audio, or do you want to hear the actual play?
Do you have another one? Do you have the actual audio?
Yeah, I do, if you want to hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, so this is from the beginning when the play happens, and then Joe Madden and Curtis Granderson speak afterwards.
Okay.
2 strikes. Here it comes again, and a swing and a miss. Davis struck him out. Granderson is claiming he fouled it, and it hit the ground. It's not reviewable, by the way.
Granderson is arguing that he foul-tipped the ball, and Jim Wolf was saying, no, you're out. Granderson does not foul-tip this ball, and it's just a block by Contreras on a pitch in the dirt, so he's out.
Now, wait a minute. Dave Roberts asked Wolf to consult with the third base umpire, Eric Cooper. In fact, he's inviting all of the umpires in to talk with Jim Wolf. Interesting that the outfield umpires have been invited in. What in the world they could have seen.
Oh, my goodness. Did he just call it a foul ball? He did. He just called it a foul ball.
And Joe Madden now is very angry at Eric Cooper, the third base umpire, saying, how could you possibly see contact from 120 feet away? And I believe Joe Madden has been thrown out of the game once again.
The home plate umpire has the best shot at it. He has the best view, unless there's an evident one where he maybe didn't see it, and then he can ask for help. But he saw it, and then he went to the other umpires, and then they changed it.
Well, now, Granderson's got to collect himself. He swung at a bad breaking ball, and he gets a reprieve.
And a swing and a miss, and no foul ball, and Granderson is out on strikes.
All right, so let's stop for a second because there's context that has to be said before we go to Joe Madden and Curtis Granderson. So, as Tom was saying, replay, no replay, not reviewable, does it need to be reviewable? Maybe, but he missed that pitch by a mile.
Oh, he did. He fucking missed it by a mile. I cannot believe. And the worst part about it is the home plate umpire calls in everybody. You are the home plate umpire. You have the best view of what's going on. So how could you be convinced by your 5 other umpires out in the that baffles me.
By the way, just want to make sure I clarify everything. That's courtesy of TBS and KLAC, the radio station that covers the Dodgers for the playoffs. But basically, as Tom just said, the home plate umpire looks over. First of all, I don't know why the outfield umpires were involved in that discussion.
Right. They even said it on the broadcast. Why were they involved?
That's why I said it. But basically, Eric Cooper, the third base umpire, was the one that led the discussion because he's at third base. Now, what I don't understand is Granderson's a lefty, right? So, yeah. So it has to go to the third base umpire if there is a check swing or a foul tip. So apparently what he saw is that there was apparently 2 sounds, and Joe Madden's going to mention that when I play the audio for Joe Madden, that's why they overturned the call, because they heard 2 sounds, and that's why they thought it was a foul tip.
Yeah, but still, how I get the third base umpire leading the conversation, but it's still, you're the home plate umpire. You know what happened, so I don't get it. I'm going to be flat out honest with you. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care, if anybody comes after me, oh, well, it didn't affect the series. The Dodgers won 5 anyway, or whatever.
Well, believe it or not,
this was the worst call, the worst overturned, blown call, whatever you want to call it, made this season in any sport.
I think that's going a little far because in the long run, Granderson struck out anyway, so it didn't really matter. Now, you could say that's a fallacy of a predetermined outcome, so you don't know what's going to happen after that foul tip, so you can't really get mad one way or another if a home run or if he strikes out. So it's tough to say what really the reaction should be.
By context, by looking at a play, it's a blown call by itself, not looking at the outcomes of any game or whatnot, I would pick that as one of the worst.
But it didn't really have an effect. Like if a home run was hit, you can't say that because it was a foul tip. That's why you hit the home run.
Take the game out of it. If we're just looking at one play,
I understand that, but at the same time, I understand it was a blown call. Definitely blown call. We can all agree it was a blown call. But at the same time, it's a playoff game. Now, you could say that that's good and bad, but I think you got to let that call go because he strikes out afterward anyway. So do I think it should be reviewable? Yes, because hit by pitches are reviewable. So if hit by pitch is reviewable.
That's the other thing I didn't understand. So we come after Girardi for all this shit about the game, the ALDS Game 2 thing, but something like this isn't reviewable, and yet you gather all the umpires together, even though you're the fucking home plate umpire, and you fucking blow it completely. Like that baffles me.
The one devil's
it ended up not even mattering. It did.
No, but that's not the point. The point of it not mattering. The point is getting it right. Because when the Girardi thing happened, I saw your Facebook post, Nick Morgasen, about how you were blaming the umpires more than Girardi. Well, here's a classic case. Still, they fucking blew it.
If I could play devil's advocate for a second, that they said it on the broadcast. Maybe the home plate umpire doesn't always see, because they have to make the call most of the time. So a lot of times they don't see that situation, so that's why they go to the umpires. But at the same time, you have to do a better job. You need to have replay available to you. And you saw Joe Madden cursing out and screaming to look at the scoreboard. I think we need the umpires to have the ability to look at the scoreboard while the replay is going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If everyone else in the stadium can see it, if every fan in Wrigley Field could see it, if every player in Wrigley Field can see it, why can't the umpires?
I mean, it's kind of under the rug at this point, but I understand why you're upset, and that's why replay needs to be looked at.
Well, it's not just that. I'm talking all sports, because we also had an interesting thing happen in the NFL.
Well, before we go there, I think you guys want to hear the funny Joe Madden audio, because Joe Madden went, I have to give him credit, because he didn't go off the handle. He didn't go off on the umpires, because that would get him fined or possibly suspended. But here's what Joe Madden said after this incident happened in Game 4.
It was not a good explanation. Listen, I'm all about the umpires, first of all. I'm not going to sit here and bang on umpires. And I love a lot of guys on this crew. I've known them for a long time. But that can't happen. The process was horrible. To have that change, and if Granderson hits the next pitch out, I might come running out of the clubhouse on my jockstrap. I mean, that was like really that bad. So you can't permit that to happen. The process was wrong. The explanation was eventually it turned into hearing two sounds. Not one of them saw a foul tip or heard or thought it was a foul tip. It was based on two sounds, which I totally cannot agree with that process whatsoever.
So that's what he said.
You had to give me the mental image of Joe Madden and his jockstrap, though.
Right. So that's Joe Madden's side.
Why?
Let's hear what...
Blame Joe Madden for that.
Well, yeah, because Joe Madden's a crazy guy who who gives outfit, or what do they call those things? Where they get on the airplane and they all dress up to a certain type or whatever.
Yeah.
But besides that,
he looks like Sam the Eagle. Actually, to be honest with you, he does.
But all right, right. But at the same time, we heard Joe Madden. Now here's what Curtis Granderson had to say about the incident.
I thought I foul tipped it. That's why I stood there. Typically, if you don't, you go back to the dugout. We just watch the reaction, see what I did, and ended up standing there. That's why I asked. Let's go back.
So basically, he thought he foul tipped it, and I don't know what he was looking at. I think he might have been a little woozy from all that drinking that they're doing, from all that celebrating. but He missed that one by a mile.
He missed it by a mile. There's no question. And like I said, you two can disagree with me, but I'm not looking at, how it affects the rest of the game. I'm just looking at the blown, how obvious the call was and how much it was blown. That was very bad. That was one of the worst. And it doesn't help that in professional sports, we had two really, really, really bad blown calls in 1 week. One of which did affect the outcome of a game. One of which did affect one of us because Nick Morgasen here is a Jets fan.
Well, I mean, I'm a Jet fan, but I'm not really paying attention to the Jets that much this year. But you know what? I was watching the game on Red Zone with my brother, and we're looking at and we say, oh, my God, it's a touchdown. Wait a minute. They have a chance to win this game. And then they go away for a while to show us other games. And then all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute. Why do the Jets have the football again? And why are they going for it and getting stopped? And they're like, oh, they overturned the touchdown in fucking New York where they're doing the replay.
I'm going to be honest. This is two really bad blown calls this week. One of which affected the game because honestly, I'll be honest with you, if that call is overturned, I think the Jets can give the Patriots run for their money. I think the Jets could have won that game.
Now, again,
I know, but still, the point being, while only one affected the outcome of the game, these are still two really bad calls. I'm sorry, unacceptable.
No, right. It's unacceptable, but at the same time, you could say it's a fallacy of a predetermined outcome because you don't know what's going to happen afterwards because they're still down a field goal. Now, they get a field goal, so we don't know if that's going to happen. Is the strategy for the Patriots different if they get the touchdown? You don't know. So
you give the chance.
Right, you give the chance. But at the same time, if you look at Austin Seferian-Jenkins, the tight end, as he's going down to the ground, he's already in the end zone before the ball is moving. So
right, he's hit the what's it called?
He hit the pylon.
Exactly. Yeah, the pylon. He hit the pylon. That's a touchdown.
So I don't know what New York was looking at in the replay room. So
it's probably my favorite. It's my favorite kind of call when the referees are tired. They've been out there for 3 hours. They cry and they make the I want to go home call.
It wasn't them. The guys on the field called it a touchdown. New York reversed it.
Right.
So maybe there's just a blind guy sitting in a room with a box of donuts.
But still, the NFL officials, they don't want it. Okay, let's move on from this game.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I guess. I mean, but it wasn't the guys on the field. The guys on the field called it a touchdown, so it's not on them. It's the guys in the replay room that overturned it.
Right.
So I want to know because when they say, all right, was it a touchdown, was it not? We need, I forgot what the term is called, something evidence. You need sufficient evidence.
Right.
Yeah, irrefutable.
Irrefutable evidence. Thank you, Nick. Basically that it was not a touchdown and the ball was moving. The ball moved after he landed on the pylon. So
that's irrefutable.
Cancels everything else out. But Nick, Tom, you were balling for.
It's time to change replay sports. It's time.
Yeah, I agree, but you're adding more. If this call came from New York, you're just adding more people in New York to fuck it up.
But still, there needs to be some sort of change because these are two horrible blown calls that it's like, how the fuck did you blow this?
Well, I don't know how you blow it, but I think that, like you said before, there's human error when making calls and decisions. Is that human error? I'm not sure. But at the same time, I think that
there's human error and there's swallowing your whistle.
Exactly.
Right. All right. I can agree with that. But at the same time, they have, and I'm sure they asked afterwards before they gave that call to the refs, do you have sufficient refutable evidence that shows? And they said, obviously, oh, yeah, we do. And I'm like, well, I guess they didn't think about it. So,
but still, that's the thing. When you have video available with you, it's one thing that, not have replay available, but you have the video in front of you And it's like, it's right there in front of your face. How do you miss it?
I don't know. Mistakes happen, and you just got to move on. I mean, things happen, and it's really not supposed to be the Jets' year anyway.
Yet somehow it is. So fuck us.
That's not the point, though. The point is, still, the MLS, we just talked about this in our class of mine, the MLS is now instituting video assistant referee.
I know, but I understand with the whole replay system. But replay is not going to make the game better. It's basically they have to use it smarter.
The people need to get better.
Right.
Right. There needs to be better people in there, first of all. They need to use it smarter. And I understand the complaint of, it's going to slow it down. But, Nick, once again, I was like, go back to that status that you said I'm using against you. We're emphasizing it needs to be called right.
Right. It does need to be called right. But at the same time, the replay system needs to be used efficiently and smartly, not quantitatively.
Which is fair, but there's a point. My point is there needs to be a change. I understand there's a pace of game issue, but there can be a way to balance it. What it is, I'll be honest, I don't fucking know, but there has to be a way. If there's a will, there's a way.
Well, knowing Goodell, we will probably see those rule changes in about 20, 30 years.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. But
still, I'm talking about across all sports in general.
Right. But at the same time, as I said, you don't want to get into a pissing contest of quantitative use of the replay system. Because the more you use the replay system...
I just said there could be a way.
No, I understand. I'm just saying that what that's going to lead to eventually is more quantitative use of the replay system. Because people are going to say, we don't use the replay system enough. Now we're going to waste more time and we're going to use it more. Like for stupid plays like the play in the Cubs National Series with the play at first base.
I see. This is what happens when you rely on humans, and humans make mistakes.
Oh, that's right. Nick Fodera has his own solution to this. That's just take out referees.
Don't laugh at my robots.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because technology makes mistakes also.
Technology makes mistakes, but those mistakes can be fixed. And if
let me ask you a question.
Backing it up.
They're talking about robotic umpires. So would you want a robotic umpire behind home plate?
Yes.
Where it's going to call every – because you don't have any error for robots. They do everything a certain way in a perfect sense. Okay?
But at least we'd have a consistent strike zone.
Yeah, but you're going to have times where they make mistakes. Look at, I'll give you, for instance, out of the sports realm, Watson, the computer technology software, that they used that as an example to play Jeopardy against two of the biggest champions of all time. And even though Watson won because it knows most of the answers, there were times when it couldn't figure out the answer because Watson is based on statistical odds. So in its own mind, it figures out, all right, the best odds, best percentage answer is this. But it's not always right because it doesn't always have the right answer.
As long as they're not rising up like Skynet, I got to say we got to at least try and give it a chance. Call me a fool if you wish.
I'm not calling you a fool. I just think I don't think that in the long run you're going to see umpires forever. That's just the way it's going to be.
We're never going to be able to get rid of those zebras. I'm going to be seeing those stripes till I die.
You're listening to the Unspoken Podcast, part of the Undetermined Podcast Network. We were talking about the NFL just in the middle of the instant replay talk, so let's just move on to that. And, my God, guys, I need you guys to do me a favor. I need you all to go say a prayer. I need you to pack your things and go to the nearest shelter. The end is officially nigh. The end is officially nigh. The New York Giants have won a game. It's over. The end is here.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going with that. I thought you were going somewhere else. But I was like, wait a minute, the end is near. Wait a minute. Like, oh, my God.
Oh, there's so much shit I haven't done yet.
Yeah, really.
Say it first, the end sign.
I mean, I said to you guys before we came on here was that the Broncos laid an egg, and C.J. Anderson laid an egg, and Simeon laid an egg, and like the Dolphins against the Jets when they had no wins, they basically took it easy, and that's what the Broncos basically did.
First of all, we know how bad this team is, right? The three of us can all agree that this team isn't going jack shit nowhere, right?
Oh, it wasn't just terrible. This was the first game they played without, let's see, no Odell Beckham, no Brandon Marshall, no Sterling Shepard, no Paul Perkins.
No Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
No DRC, who was suspended for a week. There was somebody else on defense who was injured and out for the year.
That's not the point. We know it. We just get it, that there's a lot of guys out.
Right.
Now you motherfuckers show up?
That was classic, that reaction right there.
Now,
I can't tell you how many times I texted that to Tom during the game. Now you motherfuckers show up? Now! Jesus
especially that offensive line.
Here.
Especially that offensive line. Now you show up?
I don't have an answer for you, to be honest, the way this game went. I wasn't watching much of this game, to be honest, because watching the Major League Baseball playoffs. But when I saw some highlights from this game and how the Broncos were not just a step slow, 10 steps slow on everything, including offensive, defense, and special teams, everything, it just proved that Simeon needs some help, and he's not ready yet.
And
even though
the NFL is absolutely unpredictable bullshit.
Basically, yeah.
I'm stumped. I really am stumped with this Giants team. And
save it well last, because it's not actually going to happen again.
Right.
That is a rare sighting. It's like a unicorn.
Well, we just got information today via NFL. Paul Perkins is once again going to be unavailable this weekend. Paul Perkins is out again with injury. So soon he might be placed on IR at the rate we're going.
You know, it's like, you know what I feel like? I feel like the Monty Python and the Holy Grail, right?
Oh, it's just a flesh wound?
You cut limbs off, and yet somehow this motherfucker manages to win.
It's just a flesh wound.
It's just a flesh wound. No one cares.
Really a flesh wound. I can still bite your ankles off.
All right. Can we move on from the Giants, please? I want to talk about something else.
Yes, please.
What did you guys think of Week 5 in general? I mean, Week 6.
A little confusing, to be honest.
You think?
I mean, the way that this Week 6 went, you have no idea who's really like the major players this season, really?
That's true. Atlanta has proven it is Atlanta still. It choked a lead away to fucking Miami.
Shell shocked.
Yeah,
that one kind of confused me a little bit.
How the hell do you go up 17-0 at the half?
Are you kidding me?
How the hell do you go up 17-0 at the half and then lose 20-17?
Same reason you go up 28-3 in the Super Bowl and then you lose anyway.
Also, there's another major injury we got to talk about. Also, that happened this week. Also, in quarterback Aaron Rodgers for the Packers.
The Minnesota Vikings have demolished Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is most likely 99.99%.
No, he's done. He's done. And it's the second time he's done. And also, this is the second time he's had the collarbone injury.
That's right. That is correct. He's done for the year, and so too might be Green Bay's chances.
I wouldn't say their chances are done.
No.
Okay, that's fair. I wouldn't say their chances are done, but the Vikings the door just opened.
The door opened, but I wouldn't say the Vikings are exactly God's gift to football right now.
Oh, Case Keenum.
The door is open, but they actually physically cannot walk through it.
I mean, you still have the Lions who got demolished by the Saints, which I don't know what the hell's going on with the Lions right now.
I was going to say, but we know Detroit. We know how Detroit seasons go.
Right, but at the same time, I wouldn't say Green Bay and Minnesota are going to light it up now that Aaron Rodgers is done for the season.
Right. Well,
the Packers, they always seem to stumble ass backwards into the most fortunate of situations.
Well, let's look at this division, okay? So Green Bay was 4-1. All right, so now they lost. They're 4-2. Minnesota is Bradford is injured. They really need him, but he's not around right now. Detroit just got demolished 52-38. And even though Stafford's been good, he's hit or miss throughout the whole entire season. And the Bears are just an abomination. So there's no clear-cut winner right now. Maybe the Packers.
I will tell you this, though. It's going to be an interesting race for Offensive Rookie of the Year, especially between Deshaun Watson and Kareem Hunt. That's going to be fun.
It's going to be Watson. I think it's going to be Watson.
I could see it being Watson, though. I could see Hunt getting it. It's going to be a race. It's going to be a race. It's going to be a fun race.
Talk about another team that's struggling after going 5-0, now losing 2 in a row.
The Chiefs. And, oh boy, did Marshawn Lynch have himself a night, and not in a good sense.
Oh, no. He decided to be beast mode on the field from the sideline.
Now, I didn't catch this because I had stepped out. I had gone to the bathroom, actually, so I missed this part. What was it? Why did he come rushing out in the field in the first place?
All right, so context necessary, as you would say right now. But not for that audio. I have different audio, but we'll get to that in a second. But Marshawn Lynch was on the sideline, and basically, I think
I saw what he did.
His cousin, I can't remember who it is, who plays for the Chiefs. I don't know. Peters, I think.
Yeah,
plays for the Chiefs.
Marcus Peters.
Right. And basically, quarterback Derek Carr gets – the play is basically blown up for whatever the defense gets to him. And after he goes down, one of the guys on the Chiefs absolutely demolishes Derek Carr, even though he's on the ground already. And the whole Raiders team is running after, I think Peters might have been the one who did the tackle. And Marshawn Lynch out of nowhere comes running off the sideline. And I don't know, and he tackles, well, not tackles, but almost tackles an official.
He shoved him. Yeah, shoved him, and then he grabbed him by the collar.
Right. So there were flags flying everywhere, and basically we knew Marshawn Lynch was going to get ejected for tackling an official or grabbing an official.
But then
and apparently he put his street clothes on and watched the rest of the game from the stands.
Oh, from the stand. Okay, I was going to say.
Well, there was Go ahead, Tom.
I'll take this one because I reported this on the Twitter. Basically, it was some reporter reported that Marshawn Lynch had gone into the locker room, went into his street clothes, went to the parking lot, and driven off. But that is not the case.
No, that's not the case. I just want to give you the sources because I saw who they were. It was USA Today and TMZ both reported that he went into the locker room, was so angry that he put on street clothes, like you said, and just was going to the parking lot and leaving. That didn't happen. Now go ahead.
Okay. So what instead happened, and I saw this from Sports Illustrated, was Marshawn Lynch actually watched the game from the stands.
Yeah, he became a fan for about a half or so.
And then he took the train home, apparently.
He took the train home, the local train home with the fans. Yep.
So all you need to do is just get really, really, really drunk and then yell at a 3-year-old in an opposing jersey, and you got the Raiders fan experience down pat.
Now, wow, that's a little too much context. But
that's for every single NFL fan.
But basically, some people spoke out, and here's how I'll lay this out. So, hey, Derek Carr, what did you think about this situation?
I was still trying to, move and fight, and Marcus came in and hit me. There's nothing wrong with that. I didn't hear a whistle or anything like that, or else, obviously we would have stopped. And then if he hits me, that's a little different. If it was close or anything like that, maybe he was blowing the whistle. I'm just saying I didn't hear it, and so I don't have any problem with Marcus coming in and hitting me. He knows that, and I told him. I said, brother, I got no issue, man. You just play ball. And obviously Marshawn came out, and did his thing, But obviously you never want a guy to get kicked out, and that stinks. But I know, just from knowing him, I know that he was out there just taking care of us. It was good.
So you can tell he was very nonchalant.
Was.
The man is as dull as dishwater. Let's be honest with ourselves here. He is bland as a dry sponge.
I mean, I don't know if you guys want to hear what Jack Del Rio, the head coach, said, because he had a little bit of a different take on it.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So this is what Jack Del Rio had to say about Marshawn Lynch and how the situation could have been different.
I was disappointed that he ran out because I knew that we had a 15-yard penalty and we were going to be in good shape. I didn't get a chance to, have a conversation about it. I told him he can't leave the bench like that. About it. Next thing I knew, he was being tossed. The ref told me that he actually had put his hands on him. So I didn't see that occur. Obviously, you can never put your hands on an official. And he was DQ'd.
So that's courtesy of KNBR. They're in California, a radio station that covers the Raiders. But I have to get on Jack Del Rio for one thing. You didn't see him put his hands on an official? Are you fucking kidding me?
Maybe he was doing a crossword puzzle.
Are you kidding me right now? You didn't see him put his hands on the official.
It's like one of those things where it's just like something happened. You're just like, don't look at me.
No, you know what it is? It's no. La, 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 la.
Basically, and I'm just like, all right, fired. Someone fine. Can we? I want to have a rule where we fine people for stupidity. Where basically, if you don't see something that your player does, you should be fined because you're the head coach of the team.
So fined for willful blindness?
Yes.
You know what they say, ignorance is bliss.
I guess, but...
Well, yeah, how do you think Brown's head coaches survived so long? If they actually saw what was going on the field, they'd survive? They'd have conniptions.
Well, but I just want to say one thing about Derek Carr.
Guys dropping dead of heart attacks every week. It's like,
But I want to say one thing about Derek Carr. Derek Carr, I think, was a little too relaxed during that press conference. Tell me.
He sounded like it. I didn't see the press conference in full, but based on the audio, it sounded like it.
It's just another hit. No big deal. I've been injured for the first 4 weeks. No big deal.
I literally can't feel pain anymore because my nerves are so fucking deadened. But, hey, football is football.
But I will say this. It is kind of true. Not what Del Rio said about not seeing the play, but you can't put your hands on the official. I don't care if it's by accident or on purpose. You put your hands on the official, you're gone.
Yeah. That was bad. And basically, I'm seeing some people are saying that he should be suspended 3 games and fined $100,000. I think that's a little much. I think that maybe he'll get suspended a game. Maybe he'll get a huge fine, maybe somewhere between $50,000 and $80,000. But it'll probably be a fine of $50,000, $80,000.
If the hit on Devontae Adams was only reduced to 1 game and that's fine, that's what pretty much this. That's what Lynch is going to get.
It's going to be a huge fine. That's it.
Goodell gonna Goodell. That's pretty much
exactly. Goodell's going to Goodell. And it's a shame.
There's no point in changing anything because God knows the NFL changes like Irish relatives. Not at all.
What? What?
Nick has no idea. Nick is done.
Oh, boy.
You're listening to the Unspoken Podcast by the Undetermined Podcast Network. So, as we mentioned, I don't think we mentioned this on the air, but yesterday was the 17th day in history where all 4 leagues were playing on the same day?
It was like the first time in 17 years, I think.
First time in 17 years, something like that.
Yeah, and Nick said before the broadcast it was the first time that all 4 professional California-based teams played on the same day, right?
Basically, yeah. It was the Raiders, the Clippers, the Lakers, and who was the last one? Now I'm drawing a blank.
It's the Lakers, Clippers,
the Dodgers,
and
the Dodgers. Yeah, so it was baseball, basketball, and football.
I was going to say, so there's a new sport that has started up, and I don't have the music. Oh, wait, here it is.
Oh, no. What was that?
Curtis Blow, basketball.
Oh, God.
Yes, the basketball season is upon us. The asylum has been opened, and the nut jobs are among us. That's right. Basketball is back. And do you feel fine? Because I don't.
No.
I love the NBA. I can watch the NBA all day long. I'm a fan.
The further I stay away from Guitar Jimmy and his fucked up circus, the happier I am.
And if you you know what? Fuck it. You brought up Guitar Jimmy, and there is a hot take about this I want to mention, but you know what? Fuck it. Just for the fucking hell of it, why the hell not? Just because for the fuck of it, we're gonna just take a trip to the circus that is the New York Knicks.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say at this point, to be honest with you.
I didn't watch yesterday.
What you can say. I mean, Jesus, you got the feeling that Carmelo was approaching this game like a Sam Peckinpah movie. Like, I'm going to get motherfuckers, and I'm going to make you hurt. It's going to be...
I mean, I didn't watch the game yesterday, but my God. You know what's funny? I was looking at I was like, out of curiosity, what the hell was the score? And I saw it was like 40-40. I'm like, oh, that's not lasting.
But, I don't know. I'm trying to look up what he scored. I can't find it at the moment.
Carmelo, I have everything right here. 22 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks.
That was Carmelo?
That was Carmelo. 22 points, a rebound, an assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks in 34 minutes.
Not bad.
Compare that to Kristaps Porzingis, 31 points, 12 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block in 38.
Wow. Not bad.
And the only person on that Knicks team who got somewhat close to freaking Porzingis was Kantner, who did 10 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals in 22 minutes.
That's going to be a good team in OKC. I mean, with Carmelo, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook, I wouldn't say it's the big three in Golden State, who lost to the Houston Astros by 1 point on a waved-off shot by Kevin Durant. But
can I just say something quick?
Yeah.
Quickly. Okay, New York Knicks. You suck. Thank you.
Thank you, Stewie. They do. We are stuck in basketball purgatory, and God knows how long we're going to be here.
You know what joke would have been better? The joke that would have been better is if you pulled the Stewie thing with the Mets season, but to replace it with the Knicks instead. And
there goes a 3-pointer, and the season's over.
And welcome to the Knicks opening day. And the season's over.
I actually have that right here.
So far, Halloween's a bigger letdown than being a Nets fan. Opening day, and here's the first pitch, and the season's over.
although I what's it called? If I had a bone-breaking sound effect, I would use it for another reason. It involves my take. Oh, welcome to opening day of the NBA season. Crack, Gordon Hayward.
Oh, wow. You went there. Oh, my God. All right. So I saw that injury, by the way. By the way, really good game between the Celtics and the Cavs. LeBron versus Kyrie Trilogy 1, if you would like to call it, where Kyrie came out and actually had a really aggressively good game. And LeBron, who after the game in the post-game press conference said, I'm out of shape and not ready to play, which I thought was very interesting.
Hey, he's just being honest.
It must have been all those donuts he had in the offseason. But basically, good first couple of games for the NBA. Houston with the upset and the 1 point. And if you look back at the replay on the Kevin Durant shot, his fingertip is still on the basketball. So that was the right call, waving it off. And that's how it's all history, and Houston wins game 1.
And Golden State actually starts off 0-1.
Oh, no.
But you said before, I mean, that you were going to agree with basically Charles Barkley. Let's not pretend that it's not going to be the Cavs and the Warriors again.
Now, I need you to do something for me, Tom. Can you cue the End of the World music again, please?
Okay. Right here? Please? Sure. All right. So, actually, I wanted to play it. So, Gordon Hayward has just broken something, and he's going to be out for a while. And I'm sorry, Celtics fans, but it's time to say a prayer. It's time to kiss your loved ones goodbye, and it's time to head into the shelter. The end is nigh.
Well, actually, can you cue that again? Because I have to make another point where obsessive fans don't realize after one game that the season's not over.
I got it, yes.
So please cue the music, and I'm going to make a point right now.
Okay. Here's the air raid siren.
All right, everybody. Everyone thinks the end of the world is near because the Golden State Warriors lost game 1, and they're 0-1, and they're not going to go 81 or 82-0 like everyone thinks they're supposed to be. Get over it. It's not the end of the world. It's one game. And like Nick said, it's probably going to be the Cavs and the Warriors for the third fucking year in a row.
Fourth fucking year in a row.
I lost track. But everyone who...
It's going to be the fourth year in a row for Golden State and Cleveland, and it's going to be LeBron's 8th straight finals appearance.
Now, to be honest with you, anyone who said that the Celtics were high odds to win the championship, I want to know what Kool-Aid you were drinking, because just because you got Kyrie Irving and you got Gordon Hayward doesn't mean that you're a perfect team to go to the finals, okay?
That was
Kool-Aid.
That went down.
What?
I said also your odds just went down dramatically.
No, your odds went from maybe having a chance to no chance.
That wasn't Kool-Aid they were drinking. That was engine coolant.
That's who.
That wasn't even my take, though. That was Charles Barkley. You said that to me yesterday, Tom.
Yes, I did.
Why are we even pretending that this is a fair fight? There is no parity in the NBA anymore.
But Charles Barkley's not the only one who said there's no parity in the NBA. A lot of people have said that. Mike Breen has said that. Jeff Van Gundy has said that. Everyone has said there's no parity in the NBA because it's true.
Right, but here's the thing. In an editorial reply, Mark Stein said, but you watch the NBA for all the other interesting storylines. Like, Philly has no shot, but you're watching the process develop. You're watching the first year of, as we mentioned, Oklahoma City and its quote.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right. And you know what? Hang on. Let me tell you what's going to happen. And you know what? I'm bringing out the circus music for this, too.
Oh, no.
I'm going to bring – it's not even going to involve the New York Knicks. But I'm just going to play the circus music because it just – let me explain what's going to happen this season. This is Tom Albano giving you what's going to happen in the NBA in 2017, 2018, etc. Okay, so in the finals of the NBA Finals, it's going to be Golden State versus Cleveland once again. And once again, Golden State is going to defeat Cleveland in probably 5 games. I hope, for Golden State's sake, I hope you don't do it the 3-1. But basically, Golden State's going to win. We're going to have big baby LeBron crying about how he can't win another final. And so he's going to ship out to LA. And then you know what's going to happen? He's going to be there. There'll probably be another big star in LA. And you know who else is in LA that we didn't talk about today that we should? Lonzo Ball.
Oh, God. You know what? Leave the circus music because I'm about to go off because...
Wait, let me finish my points, Nick, before we go on to that. And you know what's going to happen? And then LaMelo Ball's going to be in L.A., and then the Western Conference Finals is essentially going to be the NBA Finals. And then we're going to have this big Western Conference rivalry between Curry and LeBron. And then freaking, it's just going to blow up. And then that freaking porn star that, is trolling Steph Curry and his wife or whatever, she's not going to shut up. LeVar Ball's not going to shut up. And I fucking hate LeVar Ball. And I'm just going to flat out say it. The NBA has become predictable.
I don't know what to tell you, to be honest, but I actually just found the audio last night between Neil Everett, Stephen A. Smith, and LeVar Ball, and you have to hear. No. You got to hear this. This was comedy gold from last night.
I heard it this morning.
Now,
let's hear it.
For people who didn't hear this, there was about a 5-minute, and we'll see. Let's have a bet, okay? Not for anything, just a bet to see how long we last before we have to turn this off, okay? Because you're going to laugh at LeVar Ball or want to pull your hair out for LeVar Ball for what he says last night. Basically, the way I'll put it is LeVar Ball thought that Lonzo Ball played amazing last night.
Well, let's have a look at his stats.
It was 3 points and 9 rebounds, I think.
What the fuck? That's not good basketball.
Can someone confirm that for me? Because I don't know if that's 100%, but that's what I read.
I got it right here, so let me see. LA Lakers, Albano, 29 minutes, 3 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block.
That's awful.
That's awful. 29 minutes, a half hour, and you only get 3 points?
All right, so let's take a listen.
Granted, it's only his first NBA game, and he's coming off an injury. Granted that, but still, the point, that's not amazing basketball.
Now, a little context is necessary here before I play this clip. So this is on SportsCenter, probably on the 1 a.m. edition of SportsCenter. And Neil Everett and Stephen A. Smith are standing on Staples Center court here. And basically, they're talking to LeVar Ball, asking him, what did you think of Lonzo Ball's performance? Now, be ready to pull your hair out or laugh, because this is what happens.
To bring you LeVar Ball was Stephen A. Listen, this man was about to leave the building, but he saw me, decided he wanted to interrupt the sports center proceedings to make a point. Excuse me, you had some explaining to do. 3 points on 1 for 6 shooting for the man who happens to be your son. He's got a lot of promise, but tonight was not a great night. You said it was going to be a great opening night.
It was a great opening night.
What? How? Explain.
Brand went up 12%. Oh. It's always good. Even when you lose, I win. You see what I'm saying? Big baller brand, we here to stay. I tell you what, Lonzo did good.
How? What game were you watching? How did he do good tonight? Well, how did he do good tonight? Explain that, Mr. Coach. Really?
On a bad foot.
Did you not say, oh, there's a bad foot now? That's what we're going. That's what we're going. Listen, don't stop. Don't you stop. Did you even move?
What is that?
Listen, Patrick Beverly got all over your son. He drank all of your son.
What do you have?
No matter what he had.
Here's what it is. Lonzo's not a one-on-one guy. But we're a team winner. And this is what I told him. Every 20 games, go 15-5. We good. We only got 1 loss. Guess what? We tied with Golden State right now. Didn't they lose the first opening?
Don't give me that. Don't give me that. 1 for 6 shooting, 3 points. I'm not trying to condemn him, but I'm just saying you said it was going to be bigger.
In the kitchen cabinet. You got to find out what's in there. You got to see what's going on. The times he was out, you see him with no direction. When he get back in there, Neil, help me when I'm wrong now. When he was in there, it's very positive. Let's break it down. 1 for 6, it ain't about shooting. About rebounding, assists, catching the ball, running the lane. Somebody got to run down the middle of that floor. Don't make me bring my shoes out and run. I can get 20 points running down the middle.
So let me get this straight. What you're saying is your son really didn't have a bad game. It's just that everybody around him had a struggle. And because of that, that's why he didn't look as good. Is that what you're saying about everybody? I'm asking the question. I'm asking a question. That's all I'm saying.
They're going to learn to play with him, and then the winning going to go sky high.
All right, I got to stop for a second because...
Stop for a second. Just stop. Stop it. Just stop.
You done?
I'm done. Stop the pain.
I've heard of helicopter parenting, but Jesus H. Tap dancing Christ, that is.
To quote somebody I saw before, he is worse than a WWE manager.
Wait a second. Hold up. Since I'm the NBA guy here, I got to say something. Excuse me. What the fuck was that? LeVar Ball. Wait a minute. LeVar Ball, the guy who was a walk-on to a team who said, I can beat Michael Jordan. What the fuck? 3 points and 9 rebounds. You lost by 16 points to the Clippers without a Chris Paul who's on the Rockets now.
As I texted in the to you guys in the little chat box, I wish my water bottle was a big bottle of whiskey after hearing that.
I almost face palmed into the back of my skull.
So here's the interpretation, Stephen. So you're saying that you guys are just as good as the Golden State Warriors? Yes, by our record, because we're both 0-1.
That's just him trying to buy time, in my opinion, to be honest.
As I just said, he's worse than a WWE manager. He is essentially playing even more of a hype man. He's playing the hype man so much that he is a WWE manager practically.
Now
he's trolling us all. He's trolling us all. That can't be for real. It can't.
There is more if you want to hear it, but I don't know if I want to.
No. I've had my fill.
Unless people want to hear Lonzo Ball talk.
No, I don't want to hear anybody in that family talk. Fuck that family.
Okay.
I wouldn't go so far as to say fuck that family, because I do think the kid's got some talent, but Jesus.
But then, Dad, shut the fuck up and let the kid play and develop.
Exactly.
This isn't the NCAA. This isn't the NCAA. This is the NBA.
And it, oh my God.
I don't know what to tell you, to be honest. I mean, it's just really confusing. I don't know really. It's just, I'm so lost that the way that this was handled, that we keep putting this fucking guy on ESPN and letting him spew his mouth.
I was just reading Sports Illustrated. It was like the extra mustard segment or whatever in the online. It's like, I don't know who was writing it this week, but it was like, why do we keep letting LeVar Ball talk?
It's the exact same kind of principle you see with a man like it is. He really is the Donald Trump of NFL, because he's with these grandiose statements, and it's like you sir are full of shit.
It's like here's
shit.
Well, I think I know what's going on from a media standpoint. It's like, oh, nobody can stand this guy, and basically, you know, he talks a big game, yet it's absolutely ridiculous, but it's content for us, and it's going to drive people there, so that's basically the game. What's that, Nick?
Asses are in seats, and eyeballs are on TV sets.
Exactly. So, unfortunately, we have to listen to him.
I guess we do, because he's going to be one of the guys in one of the biggest markets in the NBA or in all of sports. You got to think about this, okay?
And like I said, once LeBron James goes to LA, oh God, he won't shut up.
We're going to hold you to that prediction. We're actually going to come back in June and see if what you said came to fruition.
Well, the only way that Golden State and Cleveland will not face each other in the finals is if we have the most serious of injuries ever.
Does anyone want to hear what Inside the NBA had to say about Lonzo Ball?
I guess.
All right.
This was on Inside the NBA, the post-game show after the Lakers Clippers game, and Shaq basically ripped Lonzo Ball, saying he didn't bring it, and Charles agreed on the post-game show.
Oh, now I want to hear this. Yes.
Let's look back here. I mean, I know how much you guys like the Clippers. That's your sleeper team. Let's get the Lonzo Ball story out there for a guy who's 19 years old and making his debut in an NBA game that counts and going up against Patrick Beverly?
Well, firstly, it's one game. So as a young player, you have to know this is one game. But this guy's bringing it. Like, the difference between – it's funny, Ernie. The difference between college and NBA is –
Who's bringing it?
Patrick Beverly. Every night. But there are so many guys in the league, when I got into the league as a rookie, that you don't even know that well that are great players. And
ain't no bad players in there.
There are none.
There's no bad players.
And this is the thing that all the rookies, not just Lonzo will learn, but all the rookies will learn that you can get up for, let's say, Golden State. You get up for Russell Westbrook coming in, but you got to get up for the Clippers. You got to get up for, Minnesota. You have to get up for every night, especially at the point guard position, because that is the toughest position in basketball. I remember Akeem Olajuwon used to laugh all the time and says, Kenny, I only have to play 4 times a year. You have to play every night, without question. At that time, he's going Shaq. He's worried about, great players worried about Shaq. He's worried about David Robinson. He's worried about maybe 4 guys. But then, he had some nights off. Where as a point guard, there aren't nights off.
Ernie, when you're the number 1 pick, and there's a lot of fanfare behind you, money, commercials, people talking smack, you have to make a name for yourself from day one. You got to let these veterans know and these people know that I'm here. He played safe today. I figured at home, Magic Johnson said, here, the keys are yours. I thought he would come out a little more aggressive. He played safe, but you have to realize when you're the first pick and you got your daddy talking, everybody talking, you got to bring it.
Come in with all of that stuff.
You got to bring it. You got to bring it, Chuck. You know what? First of all, I agree with you. But the thing is really sucks for this kid. I think he's going to be a good player. I think he's a nice kid, too. But all that stuff with his daddy, them boys are going to be gunning for him. He unpissed he's going at Steph, Michael Jordan, going at guys. And now when these guys see him, you see when Patrick Beverly hit him that time, he stood right over him. He knocked him down and stood over him. Guys take that personally. You're like, he's Magic Johnson with a jump shot. He's going to be the best player in the league. Like, these guys, they've been sitting around reading all these articles, listening to everything his father, his daddy said. Them boys going to be going for his head.
Well, Beverly had said it a couple of weeks ago. He said, look, I get the first chance to guard him. So, that's all going into this game.
Yeah, last thing, Arnie, I agree with Chuck on this. The one thing you cannot underestimate is the power of competitive nature of an NBA player. And as much as you might think that they're not paying attention and thinking that's comical, because some of the things his father says is pretty comical, even for me, I laugh. But they take that because it's their profession.
Right.
And you cannot underestimate that.
So basically, you heard a lot of Kenny the Jet Smith, and you heard Shaq, and you heard Charles Barkley basically saying he played easy, played soft, and it's almost like it wasn't an important game, so he didn't come to play.
Well, that basically said, as I just said before, this is the NBA. This isn't a local pickup game. This is the NBA. And as they were saying, those players are thinking what this is their profession. They take that. I bet Patrick Beverly was listening to what LeVar Ball said before. I bet he's listening to what LeVar Ball is saying now. Because I think LeVar Ball said something along like who's Patrick Beverly? Basically calling him a nobody of sorts. And, you take that personally. This is a part of your profession. And, I can't defend it. It's like, as much as Lonzo's not responsible for what his dad says, there's a point where Lonzo's got to tell his dad, shut it.
I mean, really, you do. I mean, because the way that this is going is LeVar is putting so much pressure on his son that he's going to have to put up like 50 points a game, and that's not even going to be enough at times. So you got to look at it from the standpoint of, all right, I got to take pressure off my fucking son, or else he's going to get bombarded by the media.
Too late.
Such is the NBA for you.
As I said, the NBA, in my honest opinion, it's become predictable. Very predictable. There needs to be a change. And Nick, I hope what you said last week, 2 weeks ago, is correct. Ends up being true, and conferences are soon out the window.
They need to be, because the competition's not even enough between the Eastern and Western Conference. It's got to happen.
And it'd be nice if we can eliminate some of these super teams and we could actually see some more competitive balance.
But you know what the problem is? That's what's drawing the ratings for the NBA. Because if you looked at the commercials before on ESPN, essentially, before the season started, you saw the Golden State Warriors, super team. You saw OKC. They put Carmelo, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook in the commercial right next to each other. Super team. So you got to look at... And also,
I know. I get it. I know it's not going to change, but I'm just saying I'm not happy. I would rather watch sports that are more unpredictable, that other teams can have a chance. It's one of the things that drew me to hockey, because a different team was winning every year. I'm like, I like
the Penguins came along.
What happened?
Until the Penguins came along.
Right. You could say that, but I would say that's what drew me to baseball, because
that drew me to baseball too. Well, I also taught to love baseball young. Because
look at Tom, but look at the last 4 National League championship winners. It's been 4 different winners. Mm-hmm. So you're not getting. You might get the same type of teams going to the playoffs every year, but you're always going to get different outcomes.
Right, which I like. I like these different outcomes and stuff, and it saddens me that Aaron Rodgers got hurt, because I was predicting the Packers would upset the Patriots in the Super Bowl, but now it looks like Tom Brady's path to another Super Bowl is wide open. And even if it's not, it might end up being another one of those Super Bowls where nice little asterisk next to it. And like, because of either a choke or a coach's blunder again. So I'm just going to say, but at least the NFL, at least we're having such an unpredictable season already that it's fucking crazy. So I'm just going to say this, NBA, time to step up your game, buddy. Time to get unpredictable. I don't know how you're going to do that, but you better find a way, because
I would say that more teams are capable of competing this year than last year, for sure. Because last year it was really just the Warriors, the Cavs, and the Celtics, and the Rockets.
I agree with Barkley. Why are we pretending?
But I think that we need to spread it out a little more. Because you see guys like, and I'm going to probably botch this name, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Wow, I think
the Greek Freak in Milwaukee.
Antetokounmpo. I think that's how you pronounce it. Giannis
the Greek
Freak.
The Greek Freak, but close enough. But the point is, he's on a team in Milwaukee where, if you put him on one of the top market teams, can you imagine where a team with him would go? Like, that's my point. That it all depends. Like, some of these stars, what happens is they go to teams that are crap, and then they have to go to a big market team if they want to survive.
No, you're right. You're right. It's just such is the NBA, my friend.
I'm not a fan. You're listening to the Unspoken Podcast, part of the Undetermined Podcast Network. Boys, get your Week 7 games up. It's time. It's time for Rapid Rundown.
Cue the fucking music.
I do. I already have it, dude. I'm just waiting on you guys.
I'm ready.
Oh, you're ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. I'm ready. All right, boys. Here we go. It's time for another edition of the Rapid Rundown to end things here on the Unspoken Podcast. So let's do it. All right. Let's start off with the 1 o'clock games. And the first one we'll do, Tampa Bay Bucks and Buffalo Bills.
Let's go with the Bucks by 7.
Bucks by 7. Okay, Nick.
This is a really bad game, to be honest with you. We've seen a bad string of bad games. So, is Jameis Winston healthy? It looks like I read a report that he's going to start. Buffalo's kind of
going to start as of now.
So, I have Tampa on the road.
I have Tampa. God, I don't know. I have Tampa by 12. We'll go to Carolina and Chicago next.
Can we just all say it together in unison?
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Carolina.
Okay, yeah, Carolina. No, oh God, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just get to the next crappy matchup. Tennessee and Cleveland. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Tennessee.
All right. Baltimore and Minnesota.
I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to say Ravens by 10.
I'm going to say Minnesota by 10.
Oh, God. These games, I don't know who makes these schedules, but these games have just been an absolute joke. First of all, Baltimore's a joke. Joe Flacco is awful. Landon Collins hasn't been that great. They don't really have much in the receiver core. And Minnesota's kind of showing some life. So I'm going Minnesota at home.
All right, next up, New Orleans and Green Bay. It's going to be the first Green Bay game with no Aaron Rodgers. For some reason, this still has Aaron Rodgers on the passing as the quarterback, but it's going to be, as we know,
Brent Hundley.
Brent Hundley. And you know what's funny? Where does this sound familiar? This isn't part of prediction, but where does this sound familiar? A rookie backup quarterback. He's stuck behind a elite, probably Hall of Fame quarterback. Upon the Green Bay Packers, Doesn't that sound like the story of Aaron Rodgers?
It kind of does, actually.
It's the passing of a torch here. But it's not going to be a successful first game. New Orleans has found new life. Ingram had the game of his life last week, and he got this young rookie in Alvin Kamara. I'm actually going to go New Orleans by 7. I smell upset.
I'm going to take the same. I'm going for the upset.
All right, so here's what I'm thinking, because I got killed in some of my fantasies last week because of Mr. Ingram. So I think that just happened to be a fluke week because he hasn't been doing that so far this whole season. That's the one game he broke out on. And Drew Brees is has been on the decline, major. A lot of interceptions, a lot of incomplete passes, a lot of bad passes. But I think this is a bad matchup in general, just because it's Drew Brees stinks and Brent Hundley is a question mark. So now I got to look at whose defense is better. Green Bay's defense is a mess. New Orleans' defense is kind of a mess too. So now I got to look at everything else. So you got to battle good running backs between Ty Montgomery and Ingram. So
Nick, do me a favor.
What?
It's not funny. There we go.
Oh, sorry. I'm just looking at it. So in the long run, I guess I'm going to have to go with New Orleans, but it's close. It's a flip game.
All right. Yeah, but at least it's a better game than the ones we just mentioned before.
Yeah.
Jacksonville and Indianapolis. Oh, God. I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Don't do it.
I have Jacksonville by 7.
You're an idiot.
I'll take Indianapolis by 3.
Again, flip 'em game, but I think Indianapolis has more weapons, so I'm going to go Indianapolis.
That one's all, yeah, I agree it's a flip game, but I don't know. Arizona and LA. Hey, guys, Adrian Peterson really delivered last week.
Oh. You know what? I'm sick of hearing the Adrian Peterson talk. Do I think they're the better team in this matchup? I do. So I'm going to go Arizona on the road, but it's not because of AP.
I'm going to go with the Rams.
I'm going to go Arizona by 7. And next up on the dock, oh, God, no. It's the Jets and the Dolphins. Ew.
Can I root for the Meteor? Because I like the Meteor.
The Meteor? The hell are you smoking?
The less you know, Morgasen.
Can I root? Actually, no, I hate the referees because of last week. Fuck, who do I'm going to cheer for the mascot.
You got to pick one.
All right. I'll take the Jets by 7.
For me and Nick. I'm going to go with. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to go with the Jets.
I'm a Jet fan. I really don't want to pick them, but they're going to win just because Jay Cutler's an awful quarterback. Even though somehow they managed to win last week.
I'm picking the Jets.
Well, the Jets almost beat the Patriots last week. If it wasn't for a bullshit call that possibly could have sent that to overtime.
If they don't collapse in the second half, they got a chance.
Oh boy. It's time for another blowout. It's Dallas at San Francisco. Dallas with its easy schedule. Wait, boys, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Dallas
by 21.
Cincinnati and Pittsburgh.
This is a good matchup, actually, believe it or not. This is a divisional matchup. First time.
This is actually a good one.
But Pittsburgh, Big Ben looks old. He's thrown a lot of picks. I don't know.
But Andy Dalton's not better.
What?
But Andy Dalton's.
Oh, yeah, Andy Dalton's a lot better. The only reason I'm going to take Pittsburgh is because every time Cincinnati goes into Pittsburgh, they can't figure out how to win. So I'm going Pitt.
I agree. Same reason.
I'm going to take Pitt by 7.
Denver and the LA Chargers. Oh, boy.
Originally, I said this was, when I looked at this matchup, I said it's going to be a blowout. But now I'm concerned because Denver lost to the Giants last week. But I still got to go Denver because the Chargers are an abomination and Phil Rivers is awful.
I will say that Trevor Siemian will remove his head from betwixt his own butt cheeks and win the game by 10.
CJ Anderson, listen up. I am begging you for a better game after last week. But you two just said, I think last week against the Giants was just a fluke for Denver. I think Denver is going to beat the Chargers handedly. And then the Sunday game of the week. Oh boy, it's a Super Bowl 51 rematch. It's the Falcons and the Patriots.
All right, now I'm concerned with this game, believe it or not, because
rattled.
What?
Rattled.
Oh wait, we missed one game. How could we forget? There's one more 425 game we have to talk about. It's Seattle and the New York Giants. Giants, congratulations. You won a game. Unfortunately, you're playing the Legion of Boom. You will go boom. Seattle by 14.
Seattle by 14.
Now, I am going to say Seattle, but I want to say one thing. So, even though I'm saying Seattle has not been a perfect defense. Not giving the Giants any excuses. But Seattle hasn't been a perfect defense, but the Giants have been a worse defense. So it's definitely Seattle.
Okay, now to the Sunday night game of the week. God.
Now, here's the problem, okay?
Okay.
So Atlanta lost to a really bad Miami Dolphins team, and New England almost lost to a really bad Jets team. So both of them have flaws. And if you've been listening to a lot of the analysts, people have been saying the Patriots' defense has been an abomination. So I don't know who to pick. To be honest, even though it's in New England.
Wait, what did you say?
I said I don't know who I would pick, to be honest with you.
I will do it one more time for you, Morgasen.
All right. If I have to pick a team, it's probably New England because New England is one of the best home teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Patriots at Gillette.
You're going, Patriots because they're at home?
Yeah. That's what I said, yeah.
Okay, now I was talking about Nick Kev.
By 10, actually.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to agree with you guys. Patriots. And then the Monday night game of the week, it's an NFC East matchup. It's Washington and Philadelphia.
What an awful game since ESPN gets every awful Monday night football game there ever is.
Of course. But let's face it, Philadelphia's hot right now. It's not going to slow down with Washington. Philly.
I'm going to take Philly by 7.
Yeah, it's Philadelphia. Washington has no chance. They look really bad.
All right. So that's going to do it for the Rapid Rundown, and that's going to do it for us this week on the Unspoken Podcast.
I got one more thing. One more breaking news thing. So,
wait. Hang on. Let me pull up. I need a sound effect here. I need to add this to the soundboard so that way I can easily pull it up. We got some breaking news here.
All right. So Daniel Murphy of the Washington Nationals has officially undergone knee surgery today.
Okay.
And it looks like he's going to be out on a stiff rehab for quite a while. So I'm wondering if that maybe had to do with the way the Nationals played. Just throwing that out there. That just.
And maybe that part of the reason Dusty don't have a job right now. Right now, he's going to get another job.
It's like the Tootsie Pop commercial. The world may never know.
Oh my God.
That's like the perfect way to end this, too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's going to do it for us here. Go like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope at the UDUP. Go like Combat Mania at Combat Mania UD, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope.
Go like the Pop Culture Podcast at Pop Culture UD on Twitter.
And go like the Undetermined Podcast Network. We're on Facebook and we're on Twitter, Nick.
Yeah, it's at the Undetermined on Facebook. We changed some of our accounts, so that's why it's a little confusing. So it's at M&M Buzz right now to follow. I've been posting a lot of stuff, a lot of interesting things coming down the pipeline, including maybe some little podcast on Mickey Mouse stuff, maybe.
Ooh.
Some Disney maybe down the line. That's in the pipeline. And hopefully we'll pick up on some more unknown and uncloned podcast stuff. That's coming in probably early November. But otherwise, I think we're all caught up. And then still waiting on that other podcast name that Nick is trying to fix.
Yes, I'm trying to fix it. I'm putting it together. We are trying our best to put it together. And when you see it, you're going to love it.
Okay, good.
And that's it for us. So, for Nick Fodera, for Nick Morgasen, I'm Tom Albano. You've been listening to the Unspoken Podcast by the Undetermined Podcast Network. We'll see you next week for episode 42. Until then, take care, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Fuck LeVar Ball.